Real estate wholesaling is now easier than ever. In fact, I'm going to prove it to you because we just did a deal in Buffalo, New York, where we made $15,000. And everything was done 100% virtually. We never personally inspected the property. None of us live in Buffalo. God forbid. It's too cold. And the only person in Buffalo was the actual buyer and the seller. Outside of that, everything was done virtually. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire transaction, step by step, walk you through all the resources we use. And that way you can see for yourself that if you're looking to get your first deal done, then virtual wholesaling is the easiest way. And of course, my name is Cris Chico. I'm considered the godfather of virtual wholesaling because I was the one that created this particular methodology all the way back in around 2005 and 6. So let's take a look at the property here on Google Street View. And this particular property here, this is the property right there. Now, the one thing about the location of this property, if we take and we go across the street, you can see that it's located right across from a, I believe this is either motel or it could have been I think it was maybe a church and a community center, but not the best location, right, for a particular property. Now, on this property here, it's located in Buffalo, New York. So you can see where Buffalo is there, and it is located in a fairly large geographic area. Now, this is the Zillow. Let's take a look at the Zillow. Now, when the property first came in, the Zillow shows here that Zillow Valley shows up as 140,000. I think at the time we looked at the property, the Zillow Valley showed up as 120,000. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,600 square feet. And so that's the property there. Now let's take a look at here. Now, the interesting thing about this is when we look at, now first of all, let's take a look at the photos of the interior of the property. This is how the property looked like on the inside, on the outside, as you can see here. I mean, it's a solid house, but you know, definitely you could see that it does need some tender loving care. The siding there on the side, paint off, etc. And then if we look at the photos here on the interior of the property, this is the from the attic. You can see across the street. That's the view with the community center. This is how this particular property looks like as we scan through the photos here. You can see that it definitely does need work. Scrolling through here, that's a heater, water heater. This is as I continue to go through here and just kind of show you, there's some damage there, some leakage, roof, etc. So definitely it is a property that is in weathered condition. Now I'm going to jump to my computer screen here to show you this particular market here is a very robust market. How do you know that? Obviously we know that Buffalo, New York is a fairly populated area, but how do we know if it's a market that's moving quickly and that we can find, you know, there's going to be a good demand for buyers? So what we did here, and I'm going to go ahead and reset this just so that you can see. I selected home type houses. This particular property, I just arbitrarily put in a price point of below 350,000. And so we're looking at properties for sale. This number here is a total number of properties that are active on the market. However, if I then go here and I toggle to pending, you can see the total number of total inventory. So that means that there's 399 properties. But out of that 399, there's only available for sale 147 because the rest of them are pending sale, pending contract. So that is significant because that shows that that particular market is moving, that there's a lot of activity. Another example here is, let's say if we go to Toledo, Ohio, I'm just picking arbitrarily this particular market. But if we go to Toledo, Ohio, and we do the same experiment here, and we're going to reset all filters, I'm going to zoom into the area here. And let's say we're looking at homes again under $350,000. And we're going to be looking at single family houses. And right now there's 350 results for that. If we go ahead and then we go pending and under contract, there's 687 total active inventory. So what that means is that there is a very large number of the total inventory that's pending, because it's out of 687 here, there are a total of only 350 available. So anytime we see numbers of 30% or more, it means that it's a robust market, it's a market that's doing well, and that's a market that we can confidently put a property in the contract and be able to find a buyer. But most importantly, we can also gauge that we can probably be a little bit more aggressive with our asking price, with our offer price, just simply because we know that there's a high amount of demand for this particular area. So we went ahead and put this property in the contract for $77,500. And now we had the photos given to us by the owner. However, if we don't have the photos, then we use a website. The name of the company is called Velocity REOs, but the actual name of the website is BPO Photo Flow. I know it's the most horrible domain name, but that's what we use in order to obtain photos of the properties. Now now that we have the property in the contract, we then created a flyer. This is what the flyer looks like in terms of our description about the property, a little bit of information about the background of the area, and then we supplied comps. So here, if you could see, 2-1 sold pending at 159, another one sold for 180, another one sold for 180,000. These were all within the area. So the property had a very, very solid retail value, and we were asking $92,500. And what we did is we ended up listing the property on Investor Lift. This is a platform that we use to sell the majority of our deals. And on this particular platform, we list the property for sale, and then we're able to send out an email and a text blast in order to get buyers that are interested in the property. We had a ton of inquiries. Gina, my team, is the one that handled this property. He was away for the week that this property got listed, so I was the one that initially fielded the calls, and I was bombarded with so many buyers that were interested in the property, many text messages. And in the end, we ended up going with a buyer that purchases a lot of properties in the area, and he actually bought it sight unseen. He said he didn't need to look at it, which, you know, at the time I said to myself, man, did we price it below? Could we have gotten more? But there's always a balancing act. You know, when you put a property in the contract like we did, and the property is on the contract for $77,500, you know, our job as a wholesaler is not, you know, our objective is we want to make as much money as we can, but also we need to be able to leave room on the table for somebody else to do their thing and make money too as well. And so there's always a balancing act, because the deal has to be a good number for us, but it has to be a good number for the buyer. And when you get the right number, then the buyers want it. It's easy to sell. You know, who knows, if we would have asked another $10,000 on top of that, could it have created friction? Could it have been that we didn't get that many buyers? And then also on this particular property, we did need the buyer to cooperate with us, because the seller needed to stay at the property after the fact, after the closing. And that's one thing to consider when you are speaking with property owners and you talk to them about their situation, is figuring out what their needs are. Most property owners don't really realize at the time of contract that, you know, when the property gets sold, then they have to be out at the day of closing. But if you have a seller that has a lot of personal items at the property, or they have been living there for quite some time, it might be difficult for them to get out. And so therefore, it's easier in that scenario you do want to offer them another option. And the other option is, hey, Mr. Seller, if we could put an offer together that it would allow you to stay at the property after the closing, would that make a difference for you? And if it's the right prospect, they'll say yes, and that'll enable you to accommodate them, but to also get a good price. Because in this scenario, we did have to do what's called a post-occupancy agreement, where the seller's staying after the fact. There's some money put aside when typically that gets done. And then the final amount that the property was sold. Now this is our half. The total amount was $15,000. This shows $7,500. That was our wire transfer. The reason for the difference is because this is one of our partner deals. We have a partner program in which the clients will bring us the deals, and we will help and find the buyers, do everything, show the property, negotiate, and even coordinate the closing and making sure that the deal is closed. The client is located in Canada. So not only are we in Florida, client, the investor that we're working with, he is from Canada, and so the seller and the buyer were the only ones from Buffalo, New York. So again, we did this entire transaction without ever physically inspecting the property, knowing anything about repairs. We never hired a contractor. A lot of people get stuck on how am I going to get estimates of the repairs in order to know and understand what I could sell it for. It's completely unnecessary. The buyers ultimately determine the repairs based on the condition of the property. We eyeballed it. We said, hey, we think it probably needs about 25 or 30K worth of work, give or take. But at the end of the day, we make our decisions based on kind of ballpark figures, and then the buyers are the ones that figure that out. So that whole transaction was done 100% virtually. If you're interested in doing deals like this, make sure you check out this video, which is a video on how we use social media ads, specifically Facebook and TikTok, in order to find motivated sellers all throughout the country and easily do transactions like this. We closed 3 last week. We're closing every single week deals with our clients. Love to help you with yours, but check out that video there now.